It is very timely, it's very necessary. The way the world is working now, everything is online, everything is digital. You need to have an online digital presence. So, joining us this evening, we have Hanna from All In Content.
That's right.
All In Content came all the way from Windsor to meet us. Okay?
There you go.
So, we are ready to hear what Chris has to say. It's going to be an interactive session. I see Judith has a pen in her hand with a note. She's ready. I like it. I like it. Okay, so let's go. I'm going to hand it over to Chris. You can further expand on introduction if you'd like.
I will, absolutely, yeah.
Take us through our paces.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to be here with y'all, to be able to talk about how you can improve your digital presence, how we can amplify that. I'm going to keep this interactive, and so by interactive, that means I'll probably move around a little bit. I might come up and I'll ask you some questions, maybe put some people on the spot. I like to start these off, though, with a little bit of an old school kind of poll. So like it's kind of raise your hands as I'm going to ask some of these questions, just to kind of gauge the room a little bit. Who is currently posting on social media? Okay. Who's not posting, but they just like scroll through and watch stuff? You got a couple hands here. I've got a big smile there too from it, right?
So I post, just not for what I'm getting into.
Not for like what your business will be? Okay.
I have another business that I'm currently doing.
Okay, perfect. Who has somebody that will post for them? Okay, there you go. Who is doing just images, like static kind of posts? Images, like or who's doing videos? Let's do that. Anybody doing videos? 1, 2. Okay, that was a kind of a finger up. What is that? Is that a yes or is that a no?
It depends on the video you're referring to. Post it online video.
Okay, well explain. What do you?
Okay, for maybe one of my products, I'll create a video of it and add scripts and whatnot to it and post it.
Yeah.
What are you referring to?
Yeah, any kind of video, anything where there's actually it's a video, because there's different types of videos, absolutely, right? Okay, so let's. So we got a lot of people on social media. What are some of the favorites out there? So who loves Facebook as their primary one? 1, 2, 3, and an apart finger up there. Like it's like you're embarrassed to say Facebook. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Instagram. Okay, mostly on Instagram. TikTok. A couple TikToks. YouTube. LinkedIn. Professionally, yes. Okay. Okay, well, we're going to talk about that. We're going to go through all of the different types of content that there is there. Anybody here have a podcast? Who wants a podcast? Oh, we got that was okay. You went from this to like just and went straight up. You were very excited about that. So when we get to the podcast section, we're going to talk about that. I was like, anybody been on a podcast? Like been interviewed on a podcast? No? We'll talk about that because I'll give you some kind of hints and tricks that are going to help you there. We're going to cover a lot today. Like I said, it's going to keep it interactive. So I will expect that you guys are asking me questions. So feel free to stop at any point. We'll go back here. We're going to talk about, again, why you need a strong digital presence, how to choose your content in the channels, because there's different types of content, right? A lot of you, who's in the kind of the ideation phase starting out with their business right now? A few? Who has the business already launched and rolling? Okay, so I'd say we're kind of about half. And again, I saw a part hand up. Is that the style? It's just like part.
It's launch.
It's there. Okay, early days. Okay. We're going to talk about batch creation. I don't know if anybody knows what that is. We'll get into that. We'll go into a little bit of creation strategies too. Who's comfortable on camera? Anybody super comfortable? Who's scared of being on camera on video? Okay. We're going to talk about how to be more confident on camera, right? Scheduling of social media. That's, I think, another thing that's really important is be able to be consistent on social media. The key elements of a website. Who has a website? Okay. You're nervous. You're nervous before I even ask a question. Did you build your own website or did somebody else build it for you? Okay, cool. We'll talk about the different types of websites, what you should look for in a website. Who knows they need a website but they don't have one yet? Like, anybody? No? Okay. Social proof. Anyone getting testimonials from their customers yet? A couple? Okay, great. It's very important as well. So for those that don't know me, again, Chris, Hanna, All In Content. What we do is we batch record videos. We work with entrepreneurs, small business owners, and we try and make videos easy. By easy, I mean one day recording with us literally sets you up for months of consistent content. We record 20, 40, 50, 100 plus videos sometimes in a day. My personal record is 227 videos in one day, which meant I'm set up for almost a year's worth of content. I'm just started this week of recording some new content. But I'm a big believer in just using content, whether it is videos, whether it's podcasts, whether it's any kind of content, to get eyeballs on you. Eyeballs, I always say, are the most important currency right now. The more that you can be seen, the more that you're going to have people who maybe want to work with you. And I mean not just as customers, but also as people who maybe want to work with you in your business. I have a lot of people who they'll see my content, or they'll start to listen to a podcast episode and Chris, I want to work with you. That's a pretty cool thing if you people who can already do that. So again, one day sets you up. There's the QR code if you just want to learn more. My wife here, Raquel, she's behind the camera recording everything tonight. So she's also with the business as well. So why do you need a strong digital presence? There's a couple things I think that you need to know, especially some of you are definitely in that ideation phase and some of you already got a business rocking and rolling. You got to think first, who are you creating content for? Who is that ideal customer profile that you have? Does anyone have a good idea of who they're trying to, they would create content for, who their customer is? Kind of. That's the answer that almost everybody gives. Everyone says I'm not sure who my customer is. We're going to get into an exercise to help trying to find that somewhat for you, because that's actually really important. It's a first step that a lot of people don't think about when they're creating content. They'll just create content because they think, I think this is what people want to hear. But who are those people? If you don't know that answer, you're going to create content that maybe doesn't resonate. Because again, you want to figure out then, why is the content relevant for them? Again, who you're supporting with that ideal customer. And lastly, how are you going to stand out? Here's the thing. In some of the industries and the businesses that you're trying to do, you're going to have competitors. So if they're looking at your product and someone else's product, why would they choose you? How do you stand out? How are you different? Sorry, you had talked about beverages company that you're going to start to try to create. Is there other people in Hamilton doing this as well?
That I don't know.
Okay.
But
I guarantee there is.
Yeah, but there are other people doing it.
Right? Yeah. So the question is, if you're going to create content to try and promote your business, what can you do so that people will remember you and they're going to remember your product so that it stands out? That's the critical thing that's so important. This is angry me. This is an AI image, by the way. We're talking AI images. That's a little prompt. It's as close as I could get to looking somewhat like me. It's not really like me. But it's if you don't have content that it's not geared towards your ideal audience, it's not going to resonate. I created a lot of content that fell completely flat at certain parts of my career because it was just not for the right people. I didn't have stuff that resonated. I was trying to say the wrong message because I had the wrong audience. So getting the right audience, getting the right followers is critical and it's important. So this is all on your sheet. Did everybody have a sheet? Anybody not have a sheet? Okay. We're going to go through what's called here building out your branding statement. And so the way this works is I'm going to talk through it. I'm going to give you a couple examples, and then I'm going to give you time to fill this out. And we're going to talk and share a little bit about this. What we're trying to do is trying to say, I help, and then insert who you support. And I'll give you a couple examples of what that could look like. I use the word overcome because at the end of the day, every business is about solving a challenge or a problem. So what do you do for someone? And then insert how you do it. So I'll give you an example here. So at All In Content, as an example, I say here, I help overwhelmed entrepreneurs overcome overthinking creating content by teaching them how to batch record videos or to do it all for them. So the first part is I know that I'm looking for entrepreneurs and business owners who they know they need content. They know they need to be on social media, but they're struggling with it. They're overwhelmed. And often they're overthinking it. I have one client who I started working with. I started coaching her, and she was a bookkeeper, and she would spend 8 hours on a Sunday to release one video for Monday. 8 hours for one 60-second video. That's someone who's overwhelmed and overthinking it a little bit. You're talking 40 to 50 takes of just trying to record yourself and keep back and forth. So some people are shaking their heads like they've kind of gone through that. Like they're thinking, oh, how do I do this? What do I, you know? So my goal is then to teach people how they can batch record easier, and then, or sometimes do it for them, because some people just want the content done for them. It's like, hey, there's a way to do that. That's one example. Another example, say we use a recruiting firm as an example. The kind of the group I'm looking for are people who are stressed out business owners. I want to help them overcome the challenges of hiring. Again, that problem I'm trying to solve for them. And what do? Well, I can post, I can poach, and I can hire for them. Again, it's clear that like if I'm trying to talk to people, say I'm going to try and DM them, or I'm going to try and get in front of business owners, I want to have conversations, say, hey, is hiring a challenge for you right now? And if it is, let's talk. And then when we start talking, start figuring out, okay, what are they doing? Are they just struggling to find great people? Because it's hard to find people. It's very tough. But I can start creating content around this concept. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to take a couple of minutes for each of you, and we can work at our tables. We're gonna go through this exercise to start to define, again, who do you help? If we go back a couple slides here, again, we're looking for your insert. Who do you support? What do you help them do? And how do you do it? So we're going to take a couple minutes, start to write that out, and some of you already have done so, but start to do that, and then we're going to start to share. Yes?
Does it have to be a general statement for your overall business, or going to be broken down to, at this moment, I help X to achieve Y?
You can do that way, yeah. Like, feel free to like tweak it and adjust it. Like, the way I start with this for a lot of people is that we start kind of general, and then we might get more specific over time, right? Because your business is going to evolve.
Yes.
And you're going to start to refine who you're working with and stuff as well, right? Absolutely. You might have this statement per product line. You might have a certain product that, okay, this works for this type of person, and this another one works for another one, depending on the services and products you're offering. So let's take a couple minutes, and let's see if we can start answering, and then I will ask for some examples for some people as well, and we'll talk through it. So yeah, who do you support? Maybe you support mothers, you know, of over a certain age group. That could be a way you could define it. Or you're helping support certain types of people in the community. Or maybe it's industry specific. You know, maybe you're only trying to help support engineers with something that you're doing. So it's starting to define almost some demographic information about your customer is a great thing for that first line. And then the second line, again, is the problem. What's the problem that you are solving? Because that's what a business is. Every business, I always say, is in the same type of business. It's two parts of this. One, they're in the people business in some way, because you're a person trying to sell to other people. The second part is that you're just a problem solver. Your business should solve a pain for someone else. So, you had talked about being in the fitness space, right? So the pain point that people have is that they want to lose weight, or they want to get healthy, right? Or they want to overcome, something to get more in a better spot, maybe nutrition, right? So it's like, what's the problem that you can solve for people, and how do you do it? You talked about overcoming trauma through food. Your statement's actually you probably already have it written down, ready to go, don't you? I can tell, yeah. Take a couple more minutes here, and then we're going to share a couple. Anybody stuck? No? Okay. Okay, because you said you're ready to go, how about you share?
Sure.
Okay.
I help women of color overcome trauma, abuse, or physical, etc., by using cooking as a way of dealing with trauma.
Perfect. Give her a round of applause here. That was awesome. That was really good.
Not just pretty.
There you go. Now, it's hard to follow that up. Who else would like to share who they help? Can't be the only one. Or you can pick the next volunteer. Who do you help?
Yeah. I help families and businesses
Doing what?
doing cleaning services.
Okay, you have a cleaning service company?
Yeah.
Okay. What makes your cleaning service company different than other cleaning companies out there? So how do you do it different then?
Professionalism, our cutting edge commitments
Okay.
in terms of quality of service that we provide.
Okay.
That's what I can say now.
So like right now, so is it primarily just residential cleaning that you're doing?
Yeah, both families and offices.
Okay, so you're doing some commercial then as well then. Okay, great. Just in Hamilton or where are you?
In Hamilton.
In Hamilton? Okay, awesome.
Both homes and residences and offices.
So I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here with this question of like why would somebody choose your company maybe over other cleaning service companies that are out there? Is there do you have a way that you can define that?
Yes, I understood your question, but I'm struggling with how to shape it properly.
Sure.
Yeah. But I really got your question. But the right words to use is what I'm struggling with.
So you had said the words professionalism. You had talked about coordination, so that means like probably you got a really good scheduling system, I'm guessing, of some sort.
Yeah.
Do you have a large staff, or what's the staffing look like?
We are just taking off.
Just taking off? Okay.
We are just coming out.
Yep.
We are just coming out. They are aware of it. I mean, SWOBEN is aware of that we are just coming out.
Yep.
But our intention is to make ourselves different in the area of profession, in terms of how do I put it now? Like, what I mean by professionalism is giving it a kind of personal touch.
Okay.
Like, instead of me delegating staff that will not do the work well, I intend to personally, for the first period of introducing ourselves to the market, engaging personally with customers.
Okay, so you're going to engage personally with the customers.
To making sure that the right thing is done.
Yeah.
The environment is sparkling.
Yeah.
Using the kind of organic material to make the environment look catchy and good smell, good environment.
Nice.
So those are the things that, other than using ordinary water to clean the table or to mop the floor, we want to apply organic materials to make the environment.
Well, there's your how then, right? Because you start talking about like a lot of cleaning companies will just use whatever it is like that's going to be as cheap as possible for them to keep their margins low. So to be able to say, hey, we use high quality organic products, obviously safe for the environment, safe for your home, safe for your families. And we have a level of professionalism. And here's the thing, you're going to get that personal touch. Is like, if you have a problem, here's my name, here's my number, here's how you can get in contact with me. I will personally make sure that you are 100% satisfied across the board. That's the critical piece. Give him a round of applause. Any other volunteer on that part to talk about the branding statement? You want to volunteer anybody else?
I can volunteer someone.
Yes!
The one just in front of me here with the house.
Oh!
He was my name.
Wow, like you should have saw it. I wish the camera was right here, because as soon as you said that, your eyes just like sunk into your head.
I hear my voice too much.
Well, we need to all hear your voice now.
Yeah. I help fashion-forward, socially conscious golfers overcome the lack of luxury and social consciousness by supplying them with a high quality product that shows a commitment to community.
Wow.
That's a little too much.
There's a lot there, right? But you've really narrowed down to to your audience and who you're trying to help and support, though, right?
Sure. Yeah.
You sound like skeptical. Like you don't believe yourself.
I'm in sales, so I take a lot of this, as I don't know. It's a little salesy.
Yeah.
A little much.
Yeah. This is more for not you telling other people. This is for you just making sure you have clarity on who you're supporting.
Yeah. This is internal.
Yeah, totally. You're not going to go and say, this is my video and this is what I'm going to say. You're not saying that. This is just so you get some alignment on who you're helping, right?
Yeah.
That's the critical part. Round of applause. All right, let's talk about choosing your content and your channels. So the first thing that everyone always says to me is when you're trying to start to put yourself out there, I got to come up with ideas. Anybody struggle with coming up with ideas for content? You're shaking your head here. Yeah, big struggle?
Yeah, big struggle. Lots of hours. Remember when you mentioned the lady with the bookkeeping, spending hours videoing? It's kind of the same thing as researching and not knowing what to.
Yeah. What kind of industry are you in?
Bookkeeping.
You're in bookkeeping as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I can tell you, there's a lot of ideas that you can come up with in the bookkeeping side. We're going to talk through a bunch of them here. So, perfect. An idea bank is the first one, and I'll go into more detail on each of these here. This is basically a simple way to do it. So when I started trying to create content for myself, it was 2018, I was in the corporate world, I was really, really miserable, I didn't like working for other people, and I said, I need to start doing my own thing. And I knew the thing I wanted to do is I wanted to do this. I wanted to speak in front of other people, I wanted to do workshops, I wanted to do training, and so I'm how am I going to do that? I got to create content. So I'm well, I need to start using and creating video. I'm so how do I start to get around this? I'm I got to come up with ideas. So my basic simple thing was literally what I call the idea bank, where I just have an idea, I had a notebook, and I'd literally get an idea and I'd write it down. It's so simple, it's so easy. I loaded that thing up, and eventually, as you'll see in a slide or two, where I start talking about, I then turn that into a Google Doc, so I'm constantly adding ideas to it. Every time I got an idea, boom. I get up in the middle of the night, I got an idea. Got to do something about it. We're driving 3.5 hours here today. I got ideas. A song might give you an idea. You see somebody else's content that gives you an idea. Just capture ideas, write them down. Google, okay? So Google's a great way to do it. I'll grab my phone because I'll need this in another slide here. But see what other people are asking on Google. That's a way to do it. YouTube, anybody been on YouTube today? A couple people, right? YouTube's second biggest search engine in the world. You can get a lot of ideas from YouTube, other people's videos. ChatGPT, anybody use that? Yeah? It's like you were embarrassed to put your hand up that you said, yes, you use ChatGPT. That is okay. I use it every day.
It helps.
It's a great tool.
It really is.
It's a great tool to brainstorm. There's multiple different types of AI out there, but ChatGPT is the one that people know the most.
Sorry, I wanted to ask Marky.
Yeah.
So I know how to search on YouTube, what's the top thing that everyone's looking for. How do you do that on Google? Is it the same? You start.
We'll get into that.
Okay.
Hold that question.
Yeah.
Okay, so go back to the idea bank a little bit here. Like I said, I started putting everything into a Google Doc, and so I'd capture all these ideas. So I sometimes would hear a song, and I'd be oh, that quote's really cool. And then I'd maybe start to write out oh, here's some bullet points, 4 ways to be confident on camera, right? And then there's some bullet points I'll just kind of mark down, those are sentences I could say in a video. Like I said, a song lyric, anything that can basically be a content prompt, I basically put into that document. And then I started to realize I got to start to group all this together, because it's if it's one long document, it's kind of disorganized. So I group it into what I call niche ideas. So those are basically for your industry specifically. So if you're a bookkeeper, well then in the bookkeeping, what are some ideas that maybe you want to share for entrepreneurs, other business owners about bookkeeping specifically, right? Things that you can give some tips and tricks. Maybe you want to talk about QuickBooks Online and what you can do with QuickBooks, and here's the features and the functionality around that. That's a whole bunch of ideas that you can eventually come up with, or maybe it's Xero or whatever tool you're using, right? General ideas, these are ideas that could appeal to almost anybody. Doesn't matter if it's bookkeeping or not, but these are just general ideas that maybe just work for just business owners in general in your case. not just bookkeeping related. The last is personal ideas. People actually, they buy from people. So if you've got some personal stuff that you can be able to share, so my wife and I, we're trying to get healthy. This month we actually joined to get some personal fitness. It was this month, right? Yeah. So personal training to try and lose some weight and kind of get healthy. I turned 40 in August, so I'm like, I'm getting up there. So I gotta, try and get healthy. And so I'm now sharing little snippets of the fact that I absolutely hate going to the gym and I hate working out, but we're sharing the fact that my wife loves it, and we're going and doing these walks, and the personal stuff is cool because people get part of that journey. So sharing some of the personal side is really cool. Now, I say if you want to organize like a pro, then you can actually start to separate it differently. So you don't have to do niche ideas in general and personal. You could do how-tos and hacks as one category. Now, by like how to, okay, I'll use bookkeeping as an example here. How to reconcile your books every single month. You could do a whole series on that. Or how to upload a receipt in QuickBooks Online with the Snap Receipt feature. You scan it and the receipt goes to the cloud, and that's it. There's content you could do all around that. Motivational. It could be things like motivational quotes, motivational stuff related to your industry. Lessons learned. Anybody kind of learned some lessons maybe the hard way in their life, in their career? I think probably all of us have at some point. I've made a lot of mistakes as an entrepreneur, as a leader, So I can share some of those, I realized. Then there's promotional. You don't want to sit there and have all of your content just be buy. Come buy my service, come buy my product, whatever it is. But you got to have some of that. So you mix some of that in. Again, the personal stories. And the last one I like is called fun and skits. You have a personality, I can tell, right? So my guess is that you could have a lot of fun actually with some content too. I'm not afraid to make fun of myself and be goofy either, but that stuff plays really well on social media, in images or in video or whatever it's going to be. That stuff is like, it's a gold mine. Because the other thing is you want to kind of get people to be like, oh, I'm interested to work with this person, that they're so funny. I love recording bloopers with people. And like, if we were hooked up to the internet here on here, I show you some bloopers, but it's a lot of F-bombs and everything that are getting dropped from people. But it's fun because then they see the personality. Any questions on this idea bank before I move to the next one, which we'll be talking about Google? Simple concept though, yeah.
How often would you recommend to kind of sit down and kind of go through this area? Like you made a list of like different ideas.
Yep.
Kind of like filtering it down.
Well, it's a question of like, are you talking about to start recording or creating content, do you mean? Or just refine the list?
I guess everything. It's like from beginning to end.
Yeah.
How long does it?
Well, it depends on how often you want to be able to post, right? Like if you wanted to post every day or maybe every business day, well then, okay, if you're doing once, then you need like, okay, every month you want to be looking through like, do I have a month's worth of content coming up? It's depending on how often you're wanting to do it. I found that like for me, I kept adding, and then when I knew I wanted to get ready to launch, I then created a lot of my content in advance, so then I could just have that stuff flowing and going. Like for your beverage business, I'd be creating a bunch of content in advance before you're even like ready to say to the world it's happening, because it'll just take a lot of pressure off you. We'll get into that, like the batch creation side of things as well, but it's like as you're creating, like, so where are you in your phase right now of the business?
So have the website, just
Sweet.
kind of throwing pictures and
Yep.
random things on Facebook.
Yep.
Have a client, a couple of clients I regularly support.
Yep.
So I'm wanting to kind of grow, but I know I'm not kind of feel like I'm ready.
Yeah.
For that.
So you said you have a couple of clients that you're starting to do. Like, was what you're saying there is kind of like it's kind of like you're kind of spraying it out there everywhere.
Yes, I don't know what I'm doing.
It's not organized, right?
I have like the website and I have like the Facebook, and then but I hear crickets on
Yeah.
both ends.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get into that then. So if you look at it this way, like I would almost take a look at, say, if you were going for this type of style, it'd be like, well, think of this as like, okay, maybe Mondays I'm going to share content that's just hacks and how-to stuff. And then I'm going to share stuff on Tuesdays that's motivational. And then the next day, Wednesday is going to be lessons learned. So you start to theme some of this stuff together. I like Friday fun. Like to me, like Friday's a fun day for that kind of stuff. So then I'd share all my fun and skits then, and maybe the promotional stuff I'm doing on a Thursday. Like you're playing around, like look at this as almost like creating a content calendar. If you group your ideas together, you can say, okay, these are the days and the themes. Theming your days, really.
That feels a lot less stressful.
Yeah. It just kind of brings some chaos, like organization to the chaos, I think. Because I was the same thing. Like I started out doing like leadership coaching after I started doing the speaking gigs. And I just would put stuff out whenever. There was no rhyme or reason to it. And it's like if I remembered to do it, I would post it. Sometimes I posted like, 2 o'clock in the morning. Well, nothing's going to happen with that either, right? But I think having some sort of structure of what type of content and when. So the bookkeeper that I work with in Windsor, she started what she called Monday Minutes. It was a 1-minute video, and she just wanted to give value to business owners, right? And so every Monday was the same type of content. And then now we've kind of evolved the strategy and stuff like that for her. But it's like having some themes really helps.
If you're posting, right, when you're doing this, you need to be, I know you need to be consistent, but is it the same time every Monday you post at 3 o'clock in the afternoon or?
Ideally, like there's value in kind of, I call training the audience.
Right.
So like if they could always know, like as followers, to expect it at 3 o'clock every day, that's when you're going to post.
Right.
That's ideal.
Okay.
Right? So to have some consistency is more, you don't have to do it that way, but it's more beneficial. It's like I post for myself and all the clients that I manage their social for. I post at 10 o'clock all the time because based on all the analytics that we look at, it shows that most of the audience is available at 10.
AM?
10 a.m. Yeah. PM would be a waste of time.
Yeah, I have another question.
Yeah.
So if, like, something like what I'm looking at, to get like maybe testimonials and stuff like that, that would take time for working with clients before you'd be able to get something like that.
Yep.
How would you recommend like promoting a business like that using an online?
So we're going to get to testimonials.
Okay.
So let's hold that. We'll come back to that. Okay. Any other questions here on the idea side before I move to the next one, which is Google?
I just wanted to say you can also take the customer behind the scenes,
Oh, totally.
right? Like you can take them, like you can show them kind of what you do. Just take them behind the scenes, you know. It's just, there's a book called Show Your Work, and it's a fantastic book. It just kind of
Yeah, show them what you do. Like, are you working from home or in office? From home. You could like have a moment where you're like, you show like where your home office is and what that looks like and how you work. Like people want to know behind the scenes. Behind the scenes is huge.
yeah, that's your personal story.
Yeah. So let's go to Google. So Google is where you can basically like go in and search, type in like any sort of keywords or anything that you're looking for to see what other people are asking. So in this example, and it's probably hard to see on here, I typed in the word becoming more confident. And before I hit enter, I see everything that everyone else is also asking. And it's like, oh, becoming more confident in yourself, becoming more confident at work. If I was a confidence coach, I could sit there and I'd take all these ideas of everything that people are asking for and be like, there's a video, or there's a piece of content, or there's a post, an image, whatever it's going to be. Again, Google can be just a great way to get ideas. Here's the benefit of this. If you start to create content that based on what Google is suggesting that people are asking for, that's going to come up better for you in terms of your website content, your SEO. You're actually getting stuff that people actually want to have a thing to, they want that answer solved in some way. The other thing you can do is it's called more to ask. Sometimes on the phone it might show up a little bit differently, but there's the little like, you ask your question, you hit enter, and then on your phone you hit the little triangle. It then expands the amount of ideas that you have. So let's talk about, let's do bookkeeping here. We'll go into Google. And let's go Hamilton. You're in Hamilton, right? Yeah, okay. Okay, so I just went into Google here, and you can do this for everyone can do this now if they want to, like for their industry. Type in whatever you want your keywords and stuff to be. So I'm saying bookkeeping in Hamilton. I'm scrolling down to it says people also ask. Sometimes they say more to ask, depends on the prompt. I hit this here, say what should I charge per hour for bookkeeping? Well, there's maybe a piece of content that you could kind of talk about with that. Or If I'll hit this, and I'm going to hit it again. It now expanded the list. If you hit it multiple times, all you're doing is getting ideas non-stop. So you could come up with maybe 12 different types of content or ideas that you have. You could pop them all into Google related to your industry, hit that upside down arrow, and then those are specific videos that you could be creating, or pieces of content or blog posts for your website or whatever that answers all those questions.
People are actually looking for.
People are all looking for this. These are the top questions that are being asked on Google. So here's one. What is the difference between a bookkeeper and an accountant? That is a video, or that is a carousel post, that is an image post. So I'm going to hit that. Again, I'll do the thing, and it's giving me more. Is there a shortage of bookkeepers in Canada? There's probably content you could do around that as well. But look at this. So we've now got, let's call it 15 different video ideas. 30 seconds.
Wow.
And every one of these are top questions that are asked in Google.
All those hours I spent.
I am sorry. But here's the thing. So for your industry, all of that is there. So you're talking about promotional items, right? There's probably easy ideas for what you could start to create, to start to find, just using the power of Google. Now, if we go to YouTube, which is the next one, I did the same sentence over here. It's harder to kind of see on the screen, but I basically did the same thing. Like, type in becoming more confident. It gives me a list of ideas. These are videos that people are searching for. So like, one here says become more confident hypnosis. Well, maybe there's a video that I could do on that if I was a confidence coach. But you can also go through all the filters and the options there to say, I want to rank videos that are maybe in the last year. What are the top videos? Maybe for this region, maybe under so many seconds. Use the filters to narrow down your research, and then you see all the top videos. Well then, I'm not saying copy those videos, but make them your own. I saw your hand up.
I was trying to figure out, when you use your phone to search just now, the Google search, what hour did you use to get into deeper, into more options?
Okay.
Was it like after you search first, or was it like...
So I'll come down here and I'll show this, it'll be easier. Okay.
Those side ones?
So yeah, when you go here, and I scroll.
Oh, these are the one people are asked. I didn't see the word people are asked.
So then when you hit it again, it expands and gives you more options. You can hit that as infinite amount of times, and these are all the top questions related to whatever your keywords are.
Okay.
But like, YouTube, again, is that powerful tool that, again, if you're looking for more video content, doing some of the research on it, it's the same thing. It's going to work the same way as Google. ChatGPT, it is only as good as the prompts. We talked about prompts. It's only as good as the prompts that you put in. If you put a really garbage prompt,
You get a garbage answer.
thank you. You know what? I'm going to give you this. You're going to lead the rest of this session because I think you got it all figured out. That's exactly right.
You do. Well, from experience, that's the only way I know you get a garbage answer.
It's terrible if
You have
yeah,
to be very specific with ChatGPT.
absolutely.
in what you're asking.
Yeah, like if you just go in and say, give me 10 ideas for a bookkeeper for videos. We're going to get 10 super generic content pieces. Super generic. But you're like, I want to have a real specific prompt. You're like, I'm looking for your help to create 10 ideas for videos or topics or whatever, right? But like here's the type of businesses that I'm serving. And you could list out some of the specific businesses. It can start to give you some more depth in terms of some of those answers. Like, just narrow down, give it more details in as part of your prompt, and that's going to help you overall. Now, for ChatGPT, are you on the free version or are you on the paid version?
Right now, I was just using the free version just to kind of navigate and kind of get used to it.
Yeah.
But I guess the paid version is a lot better.
The paid version for $25 a month is the best $25 a month I spend.
Really?
By far.
Well, I think my son got the paid one, and he's in love with it.
Well, the paid one, and I could do a whole class on this because there's a lot there, but it's like, you could just take a document, you could upload it, it can scan through that document and find information for you.
I was in a group of class, like a classmate, and we were talking about brainstorming an idea, and we were looking into getting a logo created for the business that we're creating. And while we're in the meeting, this girl, she had a paid version, she just typed in what we're talking about, and she said, oh, here are some images that
Right.
what? She's like, oh yeah, just search in my ChatGPT. And it gave her all these images, and she said, okay, now add more bridge, add more this. And she came back, and the images were like all there.
Right.
And I was like, it created images for you? And she's like, yeah. It gave her like an actual image of, and I'm like, that's amazing because the free one just gave you words, right? Words.
Right.
And I'm not smart enough to do that.
And the paid one's got all these plugins that you can also do. So like with blog posts as an example, like I can give it all the information on a specific prompt for the business that I'm writing it for, but it does it in such a way that it's perfectly written so that I can upload it easily to WordPress, and it's all completely SEO optimized across the board because the plugin helps to do a lot of it for me. And I'm able to build my own plugins and stuff as well with it, which has been pretty cool too. So it just makes it easy because it remembers then the conversation. So I'm not repeating myself over and over again. But like with ChatGPT, like I said, it's only as good as the prompt. You just got to give it more specific instructions. To me, it's one of those things like the more you play with it, the more you're going to get more comfortable with it. Like when I first started using it and my wife started using it, she hated it. She's like, I don't want to talk to this robot. I got no interest in that. And she absolutely hated it. And then after a while, him putting you on the spot, but you were like, oh, this helps a lot.
So much time.
But you were so against it. But now it's like...
That was me when I first, and that's why I think I haven't
Gone into it deeper.
like bought one and bought
The paid, yeah.
the paid version yet, is because I'm like, this robot, what is it reading my thoughts? Like, you know, you can relate, right? And I don't trust it and kind of thing, but
Yeah.
you know, it does help, and it made things a lot easier for me.
And I think the key is, like you said, like your son is using it, right? So Raquel will sometimes say, like, I'm not getting the result that I want from it. And I say, okay, it's the prompt. So then I'll come in, like, let's tweak the prompt. And they're like, oh, now I'm getting what I want, right?
Yeah.
It's so much of like, there's a lot of resources out there. There's a lot of YouTube videos. There's a lot of like paid source things you could buy prompts from people too. People are selling prompts.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, it's a big business. It's a massive business. But it's like, you can get so many of these prompts online, or you can just build them yourself just through trial and error. Like once you find a prompt that works for you, keep it. Like save it somewhere.
Yeah, you can also, through this program and building a business plan and the lean business model canvas, which is something I was introduced here, I fed it into the system and created, with the help of a friend, my own assistant for the company. So it feeds off of my already existing documents, logos,
That's right.
and just trying to get that feedback loop. So I've trained it to think about my business solely. So you can create your own assistant
You
that
copy
will.
your business model into it and just
Absolutely.
think it knows what your business
That's right.
And now I'm starting to ask it to analyze it.
You have your own
Industry.
personal AI.
Exactly.
That's right. Like, especially on the paid version, you can just like give it your website, and I do this all the time, like review my website or review a client's website, give me recommendations of how to improve this business model. I will sometimes say, I'm promoting you to CEO. I want you now to come up with an entire business plan, and I will follow your directions to a T. And it will like, well, thank you for the promotion, and then and then it'll sit there and it'll come up with a really detailed, and you can ask it for more questions. And you keep it all in the same thread. Like if it remembers everything in that same thread. So I have a hiring company as well, right? And so the hiring company, I've created this thread. It's called Alan. And so I say, hey, Alan, we've got a new customer that we need to go hiring for. Here's all the details. He already knows our preferred way that we want to do our job posting. So Alan will then write it up exactly how I want. It is my assistant.
It is the best.
It is so cool.
I know. I'm getting more comfortable with it. So I see I'll be buying soon. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so here's what I want to do. I want you all now, either whether it's using Google, or whether it's using ChatGPT, whether it's using YouTube, whether it's just writing down ideas. I want you to come up with as many ideas as possible. I said 10 minutes. We're going to do this in 5 minutes. I'm going to challenge you. Come up with as many any ideas for content around your business or your industry. Okay? So again, Google, ChatGPT if you want, YouTube, or just ideas that come to your brain. What are ideas for content? And if you're getting stuck, let me know and I'll come over and help you. Content ideas. Anybody here competitive? Yeah. I love how you're putting your hand up for everything. This is awesome. As you say, we should have a little friendly competition. Who can come up with the most ideas in 10 minutes? I'm going to give you a hint as well that'll help you if you're trying to come up with ideas. Anybody know what the 5 W's are?
What, where, when, are
Yeah. Apply that to your business.
you serious?
Yeah. Put that into Google with whatever like your keywords are that you want to use for Google. You know? So put like, again, say you have bookkeeping in Hamilton, put the word why after. Put the word when. Put the word, and see what kind of questions come up after. It's going to give you more ideas too. Well, they always say, what, is it the 5 W's and how? So there's probably 6 individual pieces of content right there you can do around that, and you start to customize it towards your business. It's amazing how much when you're a kid, that stuff actually still can come back and help you now as an adult. I can see the pen rolling over there. Got some ideas flowing? Okay, give you one more minute. What's that frown about? Having trouble finding something?
Well, sort of. Yeah. Okay. Let's see.
Who has got more than 10? Or are you counting right now?
I have 10.
You have 10? Okay. How much you got? How many you got back there? 4? 4? Okay. How many you got?
5?
5? Get more than that.
Yeah, maybe I have a few more.
Yeah.
Like your ideas, like I've been using Google Notes on an app. Just
Yeah.
do that.
Just ideas, right? Yeah. Okay. I want from each table. This table's got a lot of people. You got 2. I want one person to come up to the front from this table, one person from the back to come up, and one person from here to come up. So whoever gets, you vote between who's coming up with your ideas. Rock, paper, scissors. Classic. Is a loser come up, or is it, how are you deciding that? Loser, yeah? Okay. Someone from the back. Who's volunteering to come up? With you, sharing, you're going to share your ideas.
We all go up at once.
Just one person. Oh, all 3 of you. All 3 of you. Yeah, come on up. Don't worry. It's not scary. Okay, let's give a proactive round of applause to everyone coming up. Just keeping us moving.
Way to go, team.
Right.
All right. So I want you to share.
One female up there, to be honest.
Yeah, let's get a female. That's a good idea.
I'll step down.
No, you lost at yours. So we need a female from one of these tables to come. Okay, there's a lot of women here. So one of you.
This is Johnny. You don't have to worry about it. All right, do you want to rock, paper, scissors? Yeah.
Hey.
Somebody. Anybody. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Come on, come on. Come on. Come on. You want to still share your ideas?
I do.
Okay, great. Well, so we're going to have 4 of you come up. So great. There you go. Look at you. All right. We will go my left to right. Share your ideas with the group. So talk about your business and yeah.
So as everybody knows, I'm trying to create a high quality hat, right, that gives back to the community. So a portion of the proceeds goes to emergency homeless shelters here in the city, and then hopefully globally, if it takes off, I can do other things. But for now, I'm trying to do that. So it's all about resilient luxury. And one of the ideas I have is to do a social media challenge inviting golfers to share their personal stories of resilience on the golf course with the hashtag like Crown Resilience, stuff like that, because I have this Crown logo. Another one is to collaborate with mental health and sports psychologists and experts to provide tips and sessions behind the Mind Your Mind ethos that I have. I've got this saying, Mind Your Mind. Another one is to...
Don't overthink it, just share whatever's on your list.
Yeah, so...
Don't screen it out.
An invitation for golfers to take the Fool's Errand Challenge at their local course with branded scorecards tracking their crown moments on the golf course.
Cool. Awesome. Round of applause. You, sir.
So I have a functional beverage that's Caribbean inspired, or flavors are Caribbean inspired. And a functional beverage basically, it has prebiotics in there. So everyone knows that everyone's familiar with the idea that we have gut bacteria. And my beverages will have a prebiotic. So prebiotics feed bacteria. Okay, so that's what's currently missing right now.
Yeah.
Right? So our bacteria is not being fed the way it should. So yeah, just some ideas that I have, like in terms of like marketing. So it's to promote gut health. Okay, you can make a mocktail out of it because alcohol is like the younger generation. They're passing on alcohol and they're moving towards like mocktails. So it will be affiliated with travel and vacation, so tropical and sunny. It's fun. It will be associated with carnival, or you know, you can always pair it with food. So within Caribbean culture, food is huge, as most cultures. But yeah, it will be paired with food. Holiday celebration, because there's certain drinks that we make during the holidays. I will take the consumer behind the scenes. I will also show them the color choices or the reasons we've chosen certain colors.
Yep.
And flavor choices.
Nice.
That's what I got.
Lots of ideas there, though. Give us a round of applause.
My business is called Savvy Source Body Mind Naturals. It's a natural skincare line infused with crystals, and it also along with crystals and crystal-related accessories.
Okay. What kind of ideas for content do you have?
I using the 5 W's. I'll just do a few ideas for content creation. The who, basically individuals who are passionate about holistic wellness, natural beauty enthusiasts, spiritual seekers, and eco-conscious consumers, right? So the individuals who are in the wellness space, so to speak, skincare experts, crystal healers. Right? The what's basically talking about 10 benefits or benefits of natural skincare.
Nice.
Infused with the crystals, and how to choose the right crystals for the right skin type. A day in the life of.
Yeah.
And DIYs that utilize crystals, skincare recipes and the sorts for that.
Great.
And the where will be blog posts, social media, video content, that sort of thing. And when winter skincare with crystals, so talking a bit about that.
So yeah, some seasonal type of content. Yeah, nice.
Summer, New Year's, any occasion that
Yeah.
crystals can be surrounded by. And why, the benefits and the motivations for that, why you should switch to natural skincare, or natural crystal infused skincare, the science behind the healing properties of crystals in skincare, and the support and the mental, emotional well-being that it brings.
One thing I would add, just before, okay, let's give a round of applause here first. When you say the word why, the one thing I was thinking is like, why did you get into this? I think that's for everybody. That's also important. Like for the content side, it's like, why did you get into the space that you're in? That's some content that people want to know. The why behind it is also very critical, I think, as part of content creation too.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. You, sir.
Yeah. In our case, our idea of our business is Salvadorian food.
Yeah.
So then our ideas for content are, for example, share video stories about what is our food to show the people.
Mm-hmm.
What is our food? What kind of food we have?
What kind of food it is? Yeah.
Yeah. Since our target market is bystander in Hamilton downtown that are seeking to taste new kind of food, right?
Mm-hmm.
So another idea is like behind the scene videos of how we make our food.
How you make it? Yeah.
So our client should be interested to see how we make that.
Sure.
And then why not teaching them how to do that? And since we know that it's not easy to prepare the food, I think they can come back to see again how to make it.
Right.
And again and again and again.
Yeah, there's some series there you can do. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we would like to share stories about the customers' reaction when they
yes.
try a new taste, a new flavor, and like a cultural education about from where this food come from.
Okay.
Like our ancestors who made that food.
Yeah. The heritage almost behind it, right? Yeah.
That's it.
That's awesome. Thank you, everyone. You guys can go back to your seats. Here's the thing. Everyone's in different industries, everyone's different businesses, but there is no shortage of ideas. There are lots of ideas out there. There's lots of ways to find ideas. You're only limited by your creativity sometimes. And the thing is, you don't have to be super creative because a lot of these tools can help you. Let's talk about different content types, okay? Like we got images, we got carousels, videos, podcasts, blogs, and articles. I'm going to go through these here. Again, if you have questions, ask questions along the way. So image posts, they're really easy to create. Anybody here use Canva? Okay, this whole table is pretty much almost using Canva.
Heard of it.
Heard, okay. Everyone but one has heard. Okay, so Canva, you guys using Canva in any way? Yeah? Canva back there? Yeah? Perfect. So Canva, really great to create any images, posts, carousels. People know what carousels are? You know what? Can you explain it to the group?
Carousel allows you to have a large image and you scroll through it. So a whole image becomes one. It's almost like a panoramic photograph, but showing one image and then you can scroll through. We've even found cool ways to,
So yeah, basically you keep swiping. You swipe to see the next one. You swipe to see the next one. You can keep kind of going, right? Like you put them on LinkedIn, you put them on Facebook, Instagram, everywhere, right? But it's like it's a good way to share a lot of information, or to kind of put something that's really cool and visual, or maybe you got a lot of different products, or just different stories you want to share. Carousels are really, like, again, I call that sequential storytelling, and kind of gives you some more detailed explanations. The problem with image posting carousels, and I want to make sure I balance this, right? Like pros and cons. Who's guilty of this, where you're on social media, you're scrolling along, and you just keep scrolling because nothing really jumps out at you, right? I love, again, big smile that you had there. Because the problem is with a lot of static images, people will just scroll past them. So you have to find a way to make it stand out. It is easy to get lost in the scroll. So they sometimes fail to hold attention if it's just images. It is, I call, like the high effort, low reward sometimes on the carousels, because there are some carousels that people put together. Like there are a lot of pages. Like I think you can go almost to like 100 plus on LinkedIn with just carousels. And I've seen that where it's like you're scrolling, but after a while, like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. But people put a lot of time and effort into them. So it's finding that right balance for your audience too, of whether it's worthwhile. The challenge is it gets maybe not compelling to keep people, but it's a good way to mix some content up. This is the easiest type of content that I think you can really create, is the image posts. And that's what a lot of social media was for the longest time. It was just images. But as we know, it's evolved. And it's evolved a lot to video. Now, videos, obviously they can keep attention kind of glued because you can do some sounds, you can do some movements, you can do different cuts. That's really versatile as well, is another pro. I say here, like, you can have explainers or you can have testimonials. Getting your customers to be featured on video is a real cool way to actually sell. Your customers could sell for you. Now, there's a perceived complexity, I say, as on the con side, right? Not everyone's comfortable on camera. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Sometimes it costs a lot, people think, to do a lot on camera. The reality is you can do a lot with a cell phone. I'd say there's a couple things I'll say to get beyond a cell phone. Like, you don't have to sit there and get like a big expensive camera, but you can do a ton with a cell phone. And obviously, if you don't have good quality, you might not stand out too well on video. Length, that's one thing that plagues a lot of people when you first start. It's hard to talk concisely, right? Like if you're going to try and capture people in 30 seconds, 60 seconds, that's hard. I know my first few videos, I was like, I'm recording and I'm thinking this is really good, and I look, it's like 3 minutes, and like no one's watching that. But that's the reality, right? So how do you train yourself to speak more concisely? I call it speak in sound bites, but it's hard. It's really hard. And the competition's got really fierce on video too. Like there's a lot of real good videos out there. Blogs, I list this because it's another piece of content. A lot of people, like, who likes to read? Anybody read much? It's somewhat, right? A lot of people don't read, but there's value in blogs. Does anybody know why there's value in blogs? No? What is a blog? Okay. So if you go to a website, they might have a blog. Another word for that could be like an article. Okay. An article on a site. The benefit of having a blog on your site is that Google search engines can pick that up and start to see that your site actually might be something that's worthwhile. It's a source of authority, and you start getting more traffic on it. A lot of people use blogs literally just to get search traffic. So having blog articles, which can be, I'd say on average, 750 words, maybe to 1,000, maybe 1,200. You can have some of that, and AI can help you create a lot of it, with obviously your own little spin on it. But then it starts to have some of the key words there. It's just going to help boost your traffic and get you more visibility, because people will start to search. So you know that Google exercise that we did, right? Every one of those different ideas that popped up, that should be a blog post, because people are searching literally for that for your industry. Turn that into a blog post and put that on your site, because then when people start to search it, you might start to get some traffic just because people are searching for that question. So like the difference between an accountant and a bookkeeper, there's a blog post there. Right? You write a whole thing on that, then you have at the end a call to action that they want to work with you as the bookkeeper. You could have a link to a Calendly to people to book a consultation with you or whatever. All right? You're doing beverages. You could have a whole bunch of blogs just on the different different formats, or the importance of probiotics. There's a blog post right there. Now, it does take time to write them. The challenge is, anyone know what the term TLDR means? Too long, don't read. It's a reality. Some people aren't going to read this. So I say the big benefit for some of it is that search engine piece for blogs. But some people will read them. You'll post them on your social media and like, hey, here's an article someone to read. Someone will check that out sometimes. And that just, again, gives you some credibility. It's a credibility builder more than anything else. Yes?
So if a blog's on a website, is there something that would have to do on the website for people to be able to see? Because I threw up again, a couple of random blogs. Again, like it was like why virtual assistant or stuff like that.
Yep.
But nobody's really finding me. So does that mean that I need to do something in the back end?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. What's your website built on? Is it like Squarespace? Okay. So whether it's Squarespace or WordPress or Wix or I'm probably missing another major one. Like, Shopify's got some basic stuff there, but like what you're looking for in the back end, there should be some tools or plugins to help from a search engine optimization perspective. Because you're going to want to start to put in key terms. You're also going to want what's called a meta description, which is basically like when you go Google something, like that first description that kind of pops up, that's about 160 characters. There should be a spot in your back end so Google can actually read that. Plus you also have to, this gets more complicated into the weeds, but like submit your website to Google so Google knows to scrape your site. There's a bit there.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I have business cards afterwards. Like if you just want to grab business card and shoot me an email, and I can direct you, or I can hop on a Zoom call with you and talk through some of that too. Okay. But there's a bunch of little things you need to kind of do on the website front.
Okay.
Podcasts. I know people put this table again was enthusiastic, and some of them put their hands up that they want to be on podcasts. There is value in podcasts, right? This is a way to connect with audiences. A lot of people listen to podcasts on commutes. Long walks, right? Who listens to podcasts, right? A lot of people do. It's a great way to kind of share your brand, kind of give updates and kind of what's going on. The biggest benefit is this, though. I say you take a long form piece of content and you can chop it up into micro clips. So you could shoot a video podcast, strip out the audio from it, release that on Spotify. There's your audio podcast. You could take the rest, put it on YouTube if you want as a YouTube podcast, or you chop it up. I always say like a 30-minute podcast or long-form piece of content is going to get you maybe 15 clips. There's 15 video ideas in 30 minutes. Just depends on obviously your style and what you're talking. If you're hopefully saying something that's really, really impactful, you want to chop that up. There's tools that you can help chop this up. A lot of AI tools, like Opus Clip as an example, that can help chop some of these long-form pieces of content up. But this, to me, is the biggest benefit by far. So I've got clients that I work with where I've suggested they should be on podcasts. I myself have been interviewed on like 30 to 50 podcasts or whatever. But there's podcast booking agents out there. So I've got some that I work with where it's I pay them $50. They get me booked on someone's podcast. The benefit of that is I get in front of that audience. I then get links from their website to my website, which then gets me traffic. They share their stuff on social media, again, gets eyeballs on me, and then I'm able to also chop up all that content. That's why it's beneficial to get on other people's stuff. You get in front of those audiences, and you get more content back. And the website benefit is huge too. Now, here's the thing. There is this effort that goes into creating a podcast. If you want to create a podcast, most people give up by 20 episodes. Because they're I started, I'm not getting any listeners, no one's kind of checking it out. It takes time to build an audience. A majority of podcasts actually, if you can get past 100, you're in the minority. Because most podcasts aren't getting past 20, and they're definitely not getting past 100. Because it's hard, it's a commitment. But when you do it, you can stand out. And then audio only sometimes misses the mark because some people want to they want the visual. That's why I always say record them as visual, and then if you want it audio only, that's fine. You can chop up some of that stuff after the fact. I'm going to pause here for a second. Any questions?
Is there mics or anything that you would recommend? I mean, as a group, we've talked about doing this as a golfing group.
Yep.
2 years, and it would be.
Everybody talks about it for a long time.
It would be. I'm telling you, the guys I'm with, it has nothing to do with my brand at all.
Yeah. It isn't.
It would work.
Yeah. How many guys are you talking about?
I'm talking like 12 guys.
Okay. So I would say like in a podcast, you'd have like max 4 guys.
No, it would rotate.
Rotate, okay, cool.
It would rotate.
So I use my mic that I have is the Blue Yeti mic, but like the Rode mics that they have for podcasts, the RODE, they're really, really good. And so you can get a kit where it's got like the boom arm, the Rode mic, you hook it into like a kind of a...
Do they hook into your phone at all? Like
some of them you can just like USB hookups. It depends on which style you want to get,
Yeah.
right? But like you can get them and just plug into a device and record directly to that if you want. It depends if you're going to do like audio or video only, depending on the complexity, right? But like you can get everything set up for a couple $100 if you want, or you can spend thousands. Like I got a client of mine right now who's trying to set up his own studio around it. He's paid about $10,000 in equipment just for all this stuff. But he doesn't need that. It's overkill.
no, it'd be really authentic. Like, we're talking like right after the round.
Yeah.
The mic is down to where you're
Yeah.
going.
Like for my podcast that like I have, like I would have guests and I would use like virtual software just to kind of interview people. If you're doing in person, you can easily set it up with a couple webcams, plug it into a computer. Get Riverside as software. Riverside, you know, that's the premium for that I think is like $400 for the year. But it's like, it's really, really cool because you can record everything directly in it at 4K, so high quality. You can separate the tracks in terms of the speaker if you want to edit it. And then there's this magic button where you press, and then it actually generates all your show notes for you automatically using our friend AI. You also click another thing, and it'll chop all your clips up for you automatically as well. So then you take your 45-minute thing, and now you got 30 clips.
Closed caption it as well.
It will, and you can choose the different kind of captions. You might want to go through because maybe they get the names wrong and edit a couple. It saves you a ton of time. But like to me, I would do a podcast virtual one using Riverside, and then just get some real good quality mics. You'd be set. You could probably, I would say, if you're having like 4, the mics, arms, cables, you're probably coming at about $1,000. When you think with the software too. But like, yeah, you'd be set. And that the cool thing with that is if you're rotating people through, I always say batch record too. Like batch record enough podcast episodes. Like don't launch a podcast with just one episode. Because if someone really likes it, they want to hear the next one and the next one. So launch with at least 3. But record ahead. Any other questions on podcasts? Here's the thing about what's cool about podcasts too. I'll use you again as an example of the bookkeeping side. No one would think, hey, a bookkeeping podcast. But you know what? There probably is some out there. And the benefit is you could sit there and have a podcast. You could have a podcast and you're the host and you're interviewing every single person here. You're talking about their business. And you do a little call to action at the end if people kind of want to work with you. But you feature them and their business. Again, it's that reciprocal kind of nature. Sometimes they might have a podcast and they want to have you on that. But it's like, your podcast might not be about bookkeeping. You just happen to be a bookkeeper, but you're talking to business owners. Sharing their stories. Every single person here has a great story. They've got an origin story. They've got stories. They've got lessons that they've learned, sometimes the hard way. And you can bring that out. And you share some examples and some tips, but you get some personal stuff in there.
I've never thought of that. Like,
I'm sorry.
no, in a good way, the good explosion.
But like, that's the thing, like, it's a different way that people don't think about it, but it's like, you could sit there and just like, yeah, you could monetize it over time, but it's a way to get content flowing for you. The cool thing is like when you're interacting with somebody else, it might make it more comfortable for you because you're just basically talking. Like if we had a podcast right now, I would just sit here and we would talk, right? And we're just talking to cameras here. You wouldn't even notice it. Like the fact is right now, everyone's been recorded here for the last like hour and no one's noticed it. Well, people maybe they have noticed it. I noticed you haven't turned around once, so like you don't want to be looking at the camera. But it's like the reality is, we could sit there and have a conversation. There could be mics on you, and that could be people want to get in there. That's behind the scenes stuff too.
Yeah, it's not like intimidating, like having that camera like in your face and just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're just like, hey, like, you know what? Why'd you start your business? And you're asking somebody else that, and then you share a little bit about you. Oh, what is something kind of funny that's happened? Like it depends on what your theme is, what you want to have with it. But you could easily have a podcast and share. You're just talking. That's all it is.
Yeah, and you build trust. You know, you build trust, and people work with people. People. Yeah.
100%. Right? But it's like someone, like theoretically, like you got 20 people here or whatever it is. That's 20 guests. That's 20 weeks of content if you had a podcast. I'm sure you could sit there and just make a list when you go home. Who's 100 people? How I want to get to 100 episodes? Who's 100 people I just want to talk to? Just on camera, just talk to them. Doesn't have to be super complicated. And here's the thing, your first few episodes, I'll be honest, they might suck. Like it might be rough, but you're gonna get better. Practice, I'm gonna talk about practice here, but like you put in the reps, you're gonna get better. We started going to the gym, like I said, a month ago. I was brutal. That first day, we did leg day for the first day for me. And they started with legs. I thought I was being tortured. And I'm like this. And I'm just like, for 5 days. For 5 days. And like, so where our gym is, like, it's like kind of in the bottom of like a chiropractic clinic, so like you have to go down some stairs. And I'm walking up the stairs, like, like I'm screaming, but I was in pain for 5 days. But you know what? I'm now better because it's practice. I'm not screaming, thank God. Next month might be different. But it's like, again, everything you do is practice.
To your point there, there's a guy I know, he and his wife, they're doing what you're doing. And they're starting to work out, but they're recording that journey.
Yeah.
And they're posting it on Instagram. And like I've seen him a few times, and I've actually gone up to him saying, like, I'm watching your videos, like I'm watching your progress. I don't know this guy that well.
Yep.
I don't, but I'm talking to him, and he's like, I really appreciate it.
That's right.
And I'm like, it's inspiring, because I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
But I like seeing him do it. And I'm seeing him get like leaner and stronger. It's interesting. And I'm kind of rooting for him.
You know what? That's a very interesting point. That's a really good point. So many people are lurking, just watching content, not creating content. The stat like changes all the time depending on the platform, right? But let's just say for easy math, 1% of people create, 99% of people just lurk and watch. So you can sit there and be creating content all the time, pumping it out, and you're in the minority, but like you're standing out because you're constantly being seen. People are seeing your journey. So we were at a networking event, was it 3 weeks ago? Yeah, 3 weeks ago, and I got to speak for 5 minutes, which was cool at the event. It's all entrepreneurs, like 30 people there. And so someone comes up to me and says, hey Chris, I've been following you for a while. I had no idea who this person was. I've already decided I want to work with you. And I was like, how do you do that? She goes, I've been watching your videos. I know exactly who you are, what you do. I know your values. I'm watching your journey because I'm recording, I have a weekly vlog I've been doing, and I call it Pushing 40. I'm recording my entire life for this past year, and I just put these videos up on YouTube. I don't care if there's like big viewers or anything. It's kind of like this accountability for me to try and improve my health, wealth, and overall self. And so people are saying, I've been watching that, and now I know I want to work with you. So when I had then the sales discovery call with her a couple days later, that was the easiest sale ever because I didn't have to actually sell it. The fact that she knew who I was for months without even interacting with me was pretty powerful. That's the power of content. Skip this here. Let's go into a little bit of channels because again, not every channel is needed. We talked a little bit about this when we were doing some of the old school polls. LinkedIn, you had said my resume's up there.
It is.
Yeah. Everybody thinks it's just for looking for a job. It's actually become more than that. It's more geared towards a professional audience, though still at the end of the day. It is more business to business focused. So if you're trying to do a business to consumer, you might not have as much success there compared to the B2B side. Content reach, articles are on there, so kind of like your blogs, but like within that. Professional content does seem to have a longer lifespan. I've done like articles on there that I still get views on like years later, which is crazy. The problem is it's a little bit like limited in terms of the engagement. Like there's not as many users on it as other platforms, but it can be really good for professionals. If you're going to try and do ads, definitely the highest ad cost if you're going to try and promote that. And I say here there's algorithm constraints. The one thing that LinkedIn's really kind of pivoted to, I'd say in the last couple of years, is it rewards engagement, which means I got to make a bunch of comments in order for it to start to push my content. So I've paid for LinkedIn coaching and talk to different gurus and people, and they're saying, oh, you should do like 50 to 100 comments before you even post your content, which is insane. But that will start to get you more views on you. The more comments you do, the more engagement you do, the better your content performs. So right now, my engagement hasn't been good on LinkedIn because I haven't been focusing as much on it. But when I start to like do comments, well, then I see it bump up. It's unfortunate that's the game that kind of happens with LinkedIn somewhat. Facebook. So again, it's the largest site, a networking site for social media. It just had its 20th birthday, like last week or the weekend before that or whatever it was. You can do a lot of great advertising with LinkedIn. It does all types of content, video, text, images. You can go live. Anybody gone live? One? You went live once? Great.
But it was a birthday thing.
It was a birthday. Okay, that's cool. It still counts.
Very short but sweet.
But going live is a very, very powerful way to show the real you, to share an update. I won't do it right now, but like I could theoretically just be like, I'm going to go live and say, here I am in Hamilton doing a workshop, you know, and I could show the audience and talk and everything I'm doing. That's a good way, and Facebook really starts to push that. Your lives might perform better than your like recorded images and posts.
On Facebook or?
On Facebook, anywhere actually. Any live, like live is really prioritized within the algorithms across all channels. So what I have with some of my clients is I advise them, try and go live twice a week. So one of my realtor clients, he'll sit there and it's like, I'm going to do a house showing. So he's going to go show a house. Let's go live at the open house and show the amount of people coming through. And then people are like, oh, that's cool. Because the cool thing about going live is that people are like, oh, I want to interact with you. I want to ask questions. Because you can see who's watching. And they make comments and stuff like that as well. Now, it's tricky if you go live and like you lose Wi-Fi signal and everything like that, right? But it happens. And you never know when you go live. Because like it'll be like 3, 2, 1, it counts down. But you're like, am I live? Am I not live? And like you're saying that and you're already live. And people like that's a thing. We were shooting with our bookkeeping client at the beach. She wanted to record her bookkeeping videos at the beach with the water. And she's like, I said, Sharice, why don't you go live? So yeah, she went live, and it started at the most awkward angle for her face. And so it was kind of like a goofy image. But that thing really performed. Thousands of views on it because people liked seeing like, oh, that's cool. You're doing all these videos at the beach, which is different for a bookkeeper. You're going to have your hand up.
It was about LinkedIn. So I have a professional LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
But for the business, are you able to open a business LinkedIn?
Yes.
Oh, you can?
Absolutely. Yeah, you can create a corporate
Because I'm
one.
going to the consumer, but I do want to speak to corporations.
Yeah,
In terms
now-
of charity golf tournaments, things like that.
Totally. So like I've got my Chris Hanna, and I've got an all-in content LinkedIn, right? And so I have the same features and functionality primarily. Now, they don't get as much reach on the business one because people want to interact with the person, right? But like that gives you another spot to actually push content out though from. Instagram, obviously highly more visual. It started as like a picture kind of app. Now it's really heavily pushed for like reels and videos more than anything else. The thing I want to skip down to here is that reach is declining in a lot of ways because they've now introduced a membership tier. It's starting to really push out, which is kind of massive. So it's like kind of like this pay-to-play model. Free is going to get deprioritized quite a bit. You're going to get as much traffic. There's like 4 different tiers, like a $15 all the way up to almost $400 a month. So like you pay more, then you're obviously going to get prioritized and get your content pushed more. So it sucks a little bit. They're moving to that model. But here's the thing. They move to it, and then if it works, great. If they don't, people might go to another platform. But that is the thing that's going to be a challenge to win, is it might cost you more. The other thing that they keep doing is they keep tweaking the algorithm. I remember it was like maybe 6-8 months ago, the talk was, you need to do 6 stories a day on Instagram. You need to post multiple times per day. They're looking to get as much reach as possible. They keep tweaking and adjusting it. They're like all these platforms, but they've been a little bit more public about some of the stuff they're doing. TikTok, it's not just about dancing. Some people think it is. Am I going to get anybody up here dancing today? Maybe the back table? No, I thought you wanted to come and dance? Get you in TikTok? It's not that. TikTok, any kind of video can be on TikTok. But there's challenges. Everyone heard about the challenges in the US with TikTok, right? Sustainability down there is going to be a challenge there in terms of that stability. Because what happens, is it sticking around, is it not sticking around? But again, it's pretty much video based in a lot of ways. Initially, everyone thought you could go viral and you could get a lot of views. It's a lot harder now as they continue to make tweaks and adjustments though with TikTok. Yes?
So my understanding is that TikTok is for people that are under 30 or even under 20. Like depending on your business, does it make sense to leverage TikTok? Or are there some businesses, like for instance, a cleaning business, like Moises' business?
Yeah.
Does it need to be on TikTok?
You don't have to be on TikTok, right? Like, I think to me, it's like figuring out where are your customers, right? Are your customers maybe going to be on Facebook more? Maybe that's the channel you should focus on, right? Figuring out where they are, because maybe TikTok, it is younger. Yeah, it's going to be your 20s and your 30s. It might not be the place you're going to find that. Maybe you're better suited to, like for a cleaning business, I'd say probably Facebook is your best bet because you can leverage Facebook groups, right? But I wouldn't be focusing on LinkedIn unless you're trying to focus on business owners for the commercial side.
I think I saw something like that probably towards the end of the slides.
That's right.
Towards the end of the slide. You showed it and you...
Yeah, so I've been going a little quick there, right?
That it's not all channels.
That's right, it's not all channels.
And product will not feature on all.
You don't have to do every single channel. Where's your audience, right? YouTube, again, it's another one. Obviously, heavily, it's all video. The SEO benefits are huge. So again, so you can make sure that you show up in Google searches because you could have a video, and so I talk about batch recording content. Well, if you type in batch recording videos, my stuff's going to come up because those keywords a lot of people aren't using. So then that's cool that my videos will show up just in the Google search, not just on YouTube. It is tough because there's a lot of videos. I think it's like 2006 or 2007, I think YouTube's been around for, so it's been a long time too. But there's a lot of things we can talk about on channels. So I'll pause here before I get into this next section on batch creating content. Questions on social media channels?
So of all the social media platforms, take for instance my business, which one do you think would you recommend as being the most optimal for what I want to do?
Well, it depends on what kind of content you want to create. And it depends on where your customers are. Like, I hate saying this answer because it feels like a cop-out, but like the answer really is it depends. It depends on you and depends on where your customers are.
The thing is, the target audience more supposed to be Canada, for instance, all of Canada,
Sure.
right? And the US. But I find the US, especially on TikTok, for instance, they get more views.
Yes.
Rather than Canada barely gets any.
Yeah, well, they got 10 times the population of us, right?
So that shouldn't be. I know we can do something about it, but I'm thinking that it should be wider outside of the U.S. Yes, I get being like.
I guess it depends on like how targeted do you want to go. So like say you were gonna post whether it's TikTok, whether it's Facebook, wherever. There's geo tags that you can put in. Like you can put in say the location. So like you could post and say like I'm in Hamilton, so maybe I'm going to tag Hamilton here, or I'm going to use some hashtags a little bit, or just like the tagging of the location itself.
For instance, Instagram.
Yep.
Location. I've done U.S. and I've actually done U.S. and Canada, and I've done say the Caribbean. I've done say Europe, Spain, France.
The hardest thing with what you're saying though there is that you're so wide, is that people then watch it is like, is that for me? Or is it like for anybody? Because you're trying to hit everybody up.
I know.
That's the trickiest part.
Yeah, but it's not only for my skincare because I do a little bit of digital marketing as well.
Yeah.
So when I'm doing that, when I'm posting, that's when I'm more.
To get more specific.
For
Yeah.
Canada and the US, I kind of.
What do you say your age range is of your clients?
Also between 18 and 60 plus.
Okay, how do we narrow that down? That's a wide range.
I know, but more, I guess.
Like give me like a 10-year window. Like what would be the ideal customer?
40 and 30
30 and 50? Okay. Let's go to the audience here. Where do you think that she should be spending her time from a content side? 30 to 50-year-olds.
Instagram and Facebook.
For 50-year-olds. Yeah.
Instagram and Facebook. Yeah. Because you get
Here's the thing. If you're doing Facebook and Instagram, you can be the same content pushed across because they're linked.
They kind of linked, yeah.
Right? That's where you should be focusing your attention.
That makes sense.
Right? I think it's just narrowing down again. Who is your customer? And you start to figure out where your customer is. Like, I ignored Facebook for the longest time. I prioritized everything with LinkedIn, and then so I think you might have been the one to say. I think she's smart. So she said, "You got to start doing stuff on Facebook." I said, "I don't want to do anything on Facebook." I was against it, and I started doing it. I'm like, "Oh, there's business here. They're actually the customers that I'm looking for. They're actually there on Facebook. Even though I didn't want to be on Facebook, they're there. It's not about you. It's about them." That's the thing to remember. You're welcome. Yes?
Another question.
Sure.
So when it comes to, so basically with, on Facebook, I just maybe kind of throw up maybe something once a week and just kind of recycle things. Anyway, I guess my question is, like, static images with words compared to like videos. I know video is better, but are static like images like really just kind of like died out, like people aren't looking at.
People don't look at them, right? So people retain more from a video than a static image. Now, there's still value in mixing them in, right? Having a strategy where you get a mix of different content types. That's why I went through like the 4 different types, right? You can do your static images. You could throw in a carousel post. You know, those are okay, but they're going to get scrolled by unless they're really, really stand out. Because here's the thing that people don't realize. Attention spans have shrunk so much. How long do you think you have to get somebody to actually pay attention to you? Less than that.
5 seconds.
1 to 3.
1 to 3. Yeah.
It's 1 to 3.
And I'm one of them.
It is hard to get someone's attention.
Yeah, I am. If it doesn't, the thumb's just gone. Especially if it's not what I'm looking for, the thumb's gone.
Like, that's the thing. So your image has to be such a powerful image to get someone to actually stop. That is the hardest part when you're just doing image only. And if you do an image where it's loaded full of text, TLDR, too long, don't read. People are not going to check it out. That's the sad reality. It could be the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
Really good stuff. And I'm not trying to discourage you by creating content.
I know. I'm honestly. I'm
It probably sucks hearing it.
Like not do more.
But it's like, here's the thing. You just got to keep putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
Keep trying different things to see what works, what doesn't work.
Yeah.
And because it's trying to keep watching it longer, but it's
Short
annoying.
videos as opposed to longer.
Yes.
What timeline?
Whoa, I'm going to get into that. So hold that question. We'll get into that. So we're talking batch creation a little bit here too. So batch creating, just so people who don't know what that is, it's like we're going to sit down and you're going to create a lot of something in a short time span. So it could be videos, it could be images, it could be blog posts. The reason that you would do this, it saves you time, because if you're trying to switch tasks and go from like, what's that?
What is the middle of batch creation?
So batch creation would be, you're going to create, say, 50 pieces of content in a single day. So that could be a blog. You could create a bunch of blog posts. You could create a bunch of videos. You could create images. You just focus on one type of thing that you're going to create. The reason I say that is, like, if you switch tasks, anybody know how long it takes to like switch from one task to the next task effectively to get started again? Okay? The last stat I heard was 22 minutes. So you start something and then you start something completely new. It takes you 22 minutes to actually get into the swing of things that you're actually like really effective. But if you focus just on one thing, I'm going to do 25 videos today. Well, therefore, you get into it. Maybe the first one's tough. I always say the first video is always the hardest. And then boom, 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 you start getting into a rhythm. You start going. You generate some momentum. So it saves you time. It helps make you more productive. At the end of the day, if you're trying to make, say, a bunch of images in Canva, you want to make a bunch of maybe the same type of motivational quotes or something. It might be easier just to kind of keep yourself consistent in terms of your branding, your look and feel, your ideas that you might have as well. And just helps with organizing everything as well. You're like, okay, I got all my videos are done for today. They're now in this folder. All the other images in this next folder. Here's some of the stuff that like I batch create that I've done over the years for myself. Like I'll sit there and I'm going to record nothing but long form videos today. So maybe I'll just record a bunch of those, or I'll record a bunch of social media videos. Like on Monday, I recorded 25 videos for myself for the day. Or for blog posts, like I'll do this for myself or I'll do this for clients. I'm like, for a lot of my clients that I manage like their websites, I'll do all their blogs. 52 weeks of blogs, I'll just sit there and I'll focus and get that done over the course of a couple of days. So I'm just done. I don't got to think about it. I can schedule it and forget it in a way too. And then all the social content, podcast episodes. I started my podcast in 2019. I would do a podcast episode, I'd record it, I'd upload it. Next week, record it, upload it. And then I was like, oh man, I'm so tired of doing that. So then I said to Raquel, I need you to leave the house. I'm going to record a bunch of these. I couldn't record when she was in the house for some weird reason. Go shopping for an afternoon. I'm going to record a bunch. Because these are single podcast episodes, just me and talking, right? I was able to bang out 6 months worth of content the whole time she was there. And I got to worry about it again. And I realized, oh, that's productive. I'm just going to batch create everything. So here's how you do it. It's simple. You come up with a bunch of ideas. So we talked about ideas before. Then you go and create your content. So whatever that is. So it could be images, could be blogs, could be podcasts, could be videos. The goal is to get at least a few weeks or a couple months worth of content. I like to turn everything into a game. I'm very competitive with myself. I know that I recorded 227 videos in one day. So what can I do next time? My first time I did it, I did 50 videos. And then I did 143 videos as my next record. And I thought there's no way I'll beat 143. And then I did 227. I'm going to find a way to do 500 in one day probably. And then you just post or schedule it. By having that much content, you can schedule it. That's a critical thing. So you don't have to actually, oh, I got to remember to get online and I got to post this at 10 o'clock on Monday. Well, no, I'll schedule it and I could be at the gym or doing something else. Okay, we're going to go through these here pretty quick. Here's the different types of videos that you can do. We're going to talk about scripted videos, bullet point, on the fly, and long form content. Scripted videos are basically just that. It's a script. You write out exactly what you're going to say. The problem with scripts, anyone know what the problem is with scripts, scripted videos?
Sounds like a robot.
Robot. Absolutely. It's not as interesting. It's not as genuine. You're going to get everything that you want said. The other thing is, if it's scripted and say either you got a teleprompter, you're reading it, so your eyes are like, it's not as genuine. But you can do it. I did most of my videos in early on just with scripts. But then I realized they don't work. So then I moved to this next one. I'll stay here for a second. There's two apps if you do want to do scripts. There's one called Nano Teleprompter, $4.99. This one's about $100, Prompt Smart Pro. Prompt Smart Pro is cool in the sense that I can upload a script. I can be saying it and speaking it. I go off track because I'll improvise something. It will pause moving and it'll recognize based on my voice and like what I'm saying, oh, he's off track, and once I get back on track, then it picks it up again. That's pretty cool. So I would use that sometimes if I'm doing something long form. Like I did an entire event, like a virtual event. We wanted to make it seem like it was live, but I couldn't make the date work. So we had the camera set up, had the teleprompter app, and I was basically reading everything for 3 hours because I wanted to say specific stuff. And everyone's like, wow, you just kept going. I'm like, not realizing this teleprompter app was helping me the whole time. Bullet points and jump cuts. So a jump cut essentially is you're going to go in, you're going to have an idea of what you want to say. It's a loose script. So you're saying like, okay, the difference between an accountant and a bookkeeper, here's 3 things. So you say that first line I just said, then you pause. You take a look at your notes, then you say what that next step is. You pause again, you say the second point.
Is the camera pausing with you?
No, you're pausing just to read it. And all you do is you go back and edit, you cut the pauses.
I had the hardest time with that.
It's tricky.
Yeah, my wife and I had to figure out when I should pause.
Yep.
And like it was really, really hard.
Yes. It can be tricky at first as you start doing it, right? But it's like, so the camera's going, and so say I'm talking to the camera, I can have, you know, my laptop over here, like zoomed in, really, really big. I know what I'm going to say. So I'll sit there and I'll talk, and I'll say my first line, and then I'm like, I'm not going to move too much. Maybe my hand stops here. I'm going to look over. Okay, what's the line? Come back, reset, and then speak again. And then I do it. So I'm trying to minimize the amount of movement. So that's the way you can. And now here's the thing. Even if it's a little awkward and it's a little disjointed, that's okay still too, because a lot of people are doing this style of video. Or you put some other footage over the cut parts. B-roll. But again, it's going to require a little bit of editing, but you're cutting out those pauses. So again, all you got to do here is create a rough outline of what your key points are. Just record them in short segments. And then you edit and remove those things. You can add different, ways to kind of hide the cuts if you need to. On the fly videos, I kind of call these the lives in a way. Like I do a lot of when we do walking, I'll record videos as I'm walking. That's on the fly. I just come with an idea. It's just totally me, whatever. And then I go back and I edit it after the fact. I got thousands of videos on here that I've probably recorded. They're on the fly that I just go back and I'll just chop up after the fact. Then I'll post when I need to. It's like, okay, this 3-minute video is probably not good for 3 minutes, but there's probably 60 seconds in there that's really good, and I just chop, 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 chop. That's an on-the-fly video. It's just like something that might just kind of come to your mind. So the problem is, sometimes there's challenges with the quality. I've been sitting there and I got the awesome idea, I'm at the river and I hear something. Little kid runs by and starts screaming or something. Well, okay, I gotta start that again, right? You can't control the environment, but just hit record, right? Try and be in a well-lit area because you're not gonna have control in your environment. That's why I do a lot of on-the-fly outside. Or we're driving here, I'm shooting videos. I shot a bunch of videos as we're driving here today. Raquel doesn't like it, she finds it annoying. She's like, don't put me on camera. But I'll do that all the time. And then long form content. It's kind of like the podcast piece that talked about, right? Take something long form and then chop that up into multiple clips. There's multiple softwares that you can go out there and do it. Opus Clip is a really good one that you can do. So that's OPUS Clip. Video.ai is another one. These are a couple $100s to kind of buy them, but you basically upload whatever that long form piece of content is. It scans through and it looks for what they call viral moments. And then it'll chop that up, and then you can adjust it. It's like, I want this clip versus that. It'll automatically put on some captions and stuff for you too.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Spend a lot of time just trying to create, you're talking about YouTube videos or anything.
Yeah. Technology's come a long way.
It's a lot of time.
Buddy, I've been with you.
Yeah. And saying, I had to tell my wife, leave, you have to leave.
Yes.
Please.
Get out of the house and don't come back. What are you doing home?
She just stares at me and it's very uncomfortable.
Buddy, I'm right there with you, man. Good job. Totally, I'm with you. Okay, so people always ask me this question, so I want to throw this slide up here. So of the different types of videos here, your allocation of what type of videos you do depends on your comfort level. So right now, as of last week, I'm doing about 10% of scripted videos. Those are traditionally long form content for me. I do a lot of bullet point. I do some on the fly, and then I'm doing a lot of chopped up ones now too. I'll take my long form and I'll just chop that content up. I'm mixing up the different styles because it gives a different feel, and I do it with the same allocation for all the clients that I work with as well, just because we're trying to mix it up, just so it's not always looking the same. Question that people always ask too is what kind of equipment do I need? If you just want to get started, again, all you need is a cell phone, but maybe buy a ring light. Anybody got a ring light? Couple of you? Great. Very inexpensive. Just the light makes a big difference. It's huge. I say it's a really minimal expense to just up the level of quality. Now, the thing I think everyone should do, and I actually feel like I should have moved it, these little mics here are $40 on Amazon. I probably should move them over to this category, but just to have a little lapel mic.
Sorry, the little mic I went forward one day. You went to Crazy Bins, the Crazy
Yep.
Bins place? I got a set of that for $1.
No way.
Great deal.
What?
But like those are amazing. Like those little mics, like those are awesome. Just to sit there and like plug them into your phone, plug them into USB or your Apple device, and it's just gonna level up the quality, kind of isolate some of the background noise. So it's just, again, audio matters. Like it's hard to watch a video if the audio sucks.
What do you call the mics?
Lav mic?
Yeah, what's it called?
A lavalier mic? You can type lav mic in Amazon, it'll pop up. Or if you just want to send me an email, I'll send you the link exactly to it. Or I think in this standard setup too, like I put on a webcam and I put in the Blue Yeti mic, just because if you're going to do podcasts or you're going to maybe do like webinars or anything like that, just up making that. Because you know what? The webcam that you have on a laptop, not that good. Having external one's beneficial. Why I like having external webcams, especially for at home, is that you can then move that to make sure you have a better angle. Anybody like get on a Zoom call with somebody and like the laptops, you have a laptop right there where it's like, it's not optimal, like the way like the angle is.
So I had an HP laptop, which is a flip one.
Yep.
And the camera's at the bottom of the screen, so I have to always prop it up like this. Because it's like looking up.
That's right.
Just looking at me.
The angle matters. So this gives you like some benefit there. Like I have mine on what's like one of those like gooseneck arms, so then I can like move mine around, adjust it accordingly. I got a sit to stand desk at home too, so like if I stand up and I want to move around, I can have the camera looking elsewhere. Then a more advanced setup is you start getting mics like I have here. So again, it's a higher quality mic. The red on here means that everything that I'm recording on the camera is actually being backed up to here. So if an audio issue happens, I got all the audio right here. And this thing works from 200 feet away. So I could be well over there, and it's all going to pick it all up, which is cool. So that's really beneficial. Same thing here. I start saying add in some extra lights. It's hard to see here. Eventually, if you want to spend more money, you get a camera. I've got multiple levels of camera. Like I went from everything on a cell phone, then I started doing GoPro, then I bought a smaller vlogging camera, then I've upgraded to this guy here. And then a green screen, which you don't necessarily need to have, but a green screen just gives you some more flexibility to remove your background. A lot of the software like CapCut can easily remove your background now too, which is really, really cool. Lights and sounds do matter quite a bit though. Wherever possible, use natural light. Like under here, these lights are kind of a little rough to like record in usually as well. So like just be careful if you're in like in kind of industrial lighting setting. So if you can buy that ring light's like the best investment for sure, just to help you out. Try and get into quiet spaces if you're going to record. Close your windows, shut your doors. We got kids that scream behind our house all the time, so when I'm recording outside, that sucks. So that's a challenge. But again, use that lavalier mic. That's what you're looking for. Captions. 85% of people do not watch videos with the sound on.
Yeah, I know.
You don't watch it? Yeah.
And I watch the videos to see what's going on in there, and I read the caption there, I read it, but most of it's like know what you're doing, basically just watching what's happening in the video.
Now you look shocked when I said that.
I had no idea. Like when I watched it, like I watch it with the sound on, and then like I'll read to try and follow along. But I can't imagine not having the sound on.
Here's the thing, right? So I was in the corporate world, and we're sitting there, we're having a very important meeting. CEO's there, COO, directors, we're all there. And this guy Andy is sitting there, and he's on his phone. I'm thinking, oh, must be like reading an email or something like that. I look over. He's just watching social media videos the whole time in the meeting when he should have been paying attention. But it's like he's able to do that because there was captions on the videos. Now Raquel said this to me the other day. She's like, if there's no captions on a video, I'm not watching that video. 85% of people, again, watch with no sound on. The thing is, it also helps to make sure that it's more likely to be watched with SEO benefits. You can add some emojis and some other caption, like graphics to it. Thumbnails, anyone heard the word thumbnail before?
Heard of it.
Okay, that 1 to 3 seconds that you have, that's what's going to help you get seen on video. You want to have something that's going to stand out. So bright colors, image, what's the topic really truly all about? That's critical and that's important. The last thing I'll just say here from a video side, engage with your audience, have a good hook. Like what's that first thing you're going to say that's actually going to make it kind of stand out? Make sure you keep that video clear and concise. Again, I would say less than 60 seconds, and if you're just starting out, 30 seconds or less. I know it's a challenge. Make sure you have a good call to action. What do you want them to do next? Do you want them to buy from you? Have a strong thumbnail, and then caption those videos. I'm going to skip past this. I was going to ask if anybody wanted to record anything, but you guys have been very interactive today, so I'll hold you back from that. Quick couple things on camera presence. I'm going to fly through this real quick because we are actually at time. Practice good posture. Speak clearly and slowly. That's important. Maintain eye contact with the camera. Don't do this. Like, I'm subtly looking at the camera, but don't come up and just be like right there in front of it. Like, make sure you have the right eye contact. Don't go crazy about it. Show enthusiasm and smile. You're talking about your business. You love talking about your business. You love talking about yourself and your stories. You got a great story, so share that. Ultimately, like, do what feels right for you. Talk about what you know. You're going to feel more confident than anything else. Like, if you're talking about something you don't feel confident in or you don't believe in, that video is going to be painful for you. The benefit of scheduling your social media is that you get consistency. You're consistently showing up online. Gives you the ability to plan ahead. You save a ton of time. And then you go back and you can analyze your strategy and see if you need to make tweaks. There's lots of services and tools that you can do. Hootsuite, Buffer, Later. You can just do Meta for Business, which gives you your Facebook and your Instagram. I use Metricool. That's my favorite tool. It gives me the ability to do for all the platforms, all my customers across the board. But there's lots of ways that you can schedule content for everything. I'm going to go through this real fast. We've got 3 slides left. Building an effective site. Just make sure that you have a website at the end of the day. You want to share your message of your brand and what it's all about. There's a couple of big reasons why. One, you want to be found on Google because people are going to search you. If you don't have a website, they're like, oh, is this a real business? You want some credibility. I always say this, don't be a Yahoo, get a legit email address. You want a branded email. You don't want to be like, I'm so-and-so at yahoo.com. I'm this at my business. Like, because it's going to give you some legitimacy, again, to who you are. And then be in control. If your entire business, I'll let you take the picture there. If your entire business is based on social media, and say Facebook disappears, you're toast. But if you've got content that's able to go onto your website, you got some control over that. Mark Zuckerberg is not going to be able to take your website. But Instagram could disappear, or Facebook could disappear, or TikTok, or whatever. At least you got control. Every website should have a home, a contact, and about page, and the services that you offer. And I say blog for the SEO perspective. You could also include other ones, but these are the 5 key ones that are so critical for you. And then social proof. People are going to look you up. And so if you can have Google reviews, that's obviously critical and that's important. Facebook reviews, also vital. But you can talk to your customers. As your customers are using your service, ask them, what's that experience like? Are they willing to fill out a Google review for you? Are they willing to get on camera with you? Could you ask them some questions, and then that can be a video testimonial? Yes?
What is the best way to collect testimonials from customers? So I've had customers who want to provide a review and testimonial.
I find video. Video. So after I work with any client, I always say, I got one more video that we need to shoot. Can I ask you a couple questions about your experience working with me? And I just ask some questions, and then I got that content. And then I can take that audio, I can put that into a text, I can put it into a video. I usually share it as a video. And then every time I invoice a client, I actually have a link on there to do a Google review. That's right. That's important. And if you got a physical location or store, you can go on Etsy and you can buy one of those like things that have a QR code. People just can scan it and say, go to a Google review. Final tips I'm going to give you here on just creating content. Do what gives you energy. If you get no energy from videos, don't do it. Right? But like, you got to try it. Don't give it up. Don't knock it until you try it, right? Go all in on your strengths. Delegate and outsource the rest. There's other people that can do that stuff for you. You don't have to do it all. Focus and go all in. That's critical. And again, a little bit more again on me. I do coaching on content if people want any sort of help. I do half-day video sessions, full-day sessions. I do things like this, group training and workshops. I know we flew through this here tonight. There's a lot we can do. And then obviously do like the done-for-you social media management, right? We come up with the ideas, we actually record you, and we post all the content for you as well. As always, though, as I say, whatever you do when it comes to your business, go all in. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chris. Do we have any questions? I know we're a little over time, but if we can spare 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
Any questions?
Yeah, are we going to have the slides?
I get you the slides, yeah. I know, we flew through a lot.
The slides are key for us here.
Yes.
So you would recommend like building a website? Okay. So like in terms of sequence, like if you're launching a product, what would be the first thing that you would recommend?
Okay, so I'm gonna step back one level here, right? So if you're coming up with an idea and you know you want to create a business, the first thing I do before I even launch the business, I'm taking a look to see is the domain that I want available to buy that right away. Even if I'm not going to create the website right away, I want to make sure that I own that domain that's going to relate to the company name that I'm trying to do. Because I want to own that space. Last thing I want to do is I have this killer product, killer service, and then I'm like, now I want to do a website, and that website's not available. I do that before I launch every single one. And then as I have ideas, because I'm like an idea guy, I own a bunch of websites that I haven't even got businesses for, just in case. Because you can buy a domain really, really cheap. So get that first, and then you're going to build your website, and maybe you're doing it yourself, maybe you're hiring someone to do it. Over time, that's going to continue to evolve. Like, as we're driving here, I'm making updates to my website. Like, I'm always making updates, and the thing is, you do want to make updates to your website a lot, because Google sees, oh, there's actually activity happening. And then it starts saying, oh, now I need to go scan your website again, because you've now made changes. So you should definitely be doing that. Get the domain. Because there's nothing worse is like I've come up with amazing ideas for businesses, and then, oh, that domain's gone, and there's nothing else that makes sense. Like, I want something that's going to roll off the tongue. I want to be able to find it. I spend a lot of time on the domain search before I do anything.
I need to do that, sure.
Yeah. Like, do you have an idea what you want to call your business already?
I do.
Have you looked for that domain?
And I haven't. And I played with the name for a bit.
That's the hardest part, was when you play with the name, you love the name, and your website's not available. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we already have the name of our business, but we didn't think about it.
The website? Yeah. It's such a common thing. Right? So like when you, like, have you registered your business as a corp, or are you just doing a sole proprietorship, or how'd you do it?
No, yet.
You haven't registered? Okay. Yeah, so like when I always look, like I'm creating any business, I'm looking at all of that. I'm doing the search to see, is there another company that's got the same name as me? You pay like the $10, $15 or whatever for the search online to see. Because like I register all my businesses as corporations, and then I'm seeing, okay, is there a website there? Is there a company name there? Then I'm good to go. We start doing it. And I make multiple versions in case I run into that situation, because it sucks if your website's not there.
Our business offers free slot for registration for incorporating businesses.
Sorry?
RBC.
RBC? So they've got their owner program. That's what I use. I use owner for all of it for registering all my businesses. It's the easiest way to register your corporation. By far. It's like $150, and then you can obviously pay for more like the managed corp, and you can go everything and go crazy. And then you get a lot of great discounts with it. Like if you wanted to get like HubSpot from a CRM perspective, if you wanted to get QuickBooks Online, you get a lot of discounts through it. It's a very, very great way to register your corporations. Yes, it's affiliated through RBC. Any other quick questions? I know I threw a lot at you, and I know I threw some of you, made you a little uncomfortable by getting you to talk a little bit more. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for all your participation, asking your questions. I got business cards here if you want to book time with me, talk. You want to ask questions on anything, I'm here. We got one more question? Yes.
You mentioned about the website can be in different platforms, and you can create yourself or someone do it for you.
Yeah, that's right.
Mine was done on, I think, WordPress.
It's the best one.
And he did a good job. The person who created it for me just told me last month that he no longer manages the website because he is changing his business model.
Yep.
Yes? And he gave me everything to log in myself.
Great.
I'm having a challenge with like how to change content on some pages.
Yes.
So do you know how like YouTube, how do I find out like that?
Yeah.
As to how to change certain content?
Yeah, so it depends on what theme that they have for you and the plugins that he's installed. What's that? WooCommerce. So WooCommerce. Okay, with probably another platform. Is Elementor installed on it? Do you know? Perfect. Okay, take my card. Okay. Just book like a time with me, and I'll just like share a screen with you, and we can sort out what your problem is there. That's easy. Because like Elementor is the best plugin when you're trying to do anything with WordPress. All like I got like 6 websites, and I manage another 10. They're all WordPress. It's the best platform, and you got the right plugins.
Okay.
So it's, to me, you can learn so much just like through self-education. YouTube is so awesome just to go and watch something.
I use it for everything. I didn't feel like most of my stuff I do myself, but I was like, I get nervous because it's like I don't want to break it.
Wow, that's easy to do too. Yes, yeah. If it's built poorly, you can easily break your site. Which I'm not saying that to scare you.
I changed on it last year, and he saw, because he always checked my site for me every so often and see what's going on.
Is it backed up? Do you know?
I think it's on host.
Okay. But like, do you know if it's being like daily backups or weekly backups or anything?
I know that my server's on, like I have.
Okay, good. Then so it probably has backup. Yeah. Yeah.
I added someone to my page, like a picture of someone in the bio, and he's like, "Oh, good job." And I'm like, "Yeah, good." He said, "Yeah, you did perfect."
It's good.
I was worried.
Yeah, but it's so important to have a website. Yeah, you're welcome.
I would say that to SWOBEN for organizing this program, for giving us free training that worth several dollars. We appreciate it. And also we appreciate your wife for being a good wife.
She's amazing. Yes, she's got to put up with me. That's hard to live with an entrepreneur. Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate you all. Thank you very much.